you feel like money is always tight? Money is always difficult to come by. You feel like you're always working hard, but man, it's like that money never really seems to be enough. Money is hard to get. We don't pluck money on trees. If that question or those kinds of questions linger in your mind, then I have something interesting for us to talk about today. I'm really going to try to make this video brief. So in this video, I want to talk about the scarcity mindset. Yes, the scarcity mindset. Let's get into it. In a previous video, I talked about 10 things that I wish I had learned earlier. And one of those things I mentioned at the time was, again, a scarcity mindset. And I touched on it just on the surface level. But today I want to bring us a little more, I want to go a little more in depth into how that mindset is the cousin of the poverty mindset and how they collaborate so well. And sometimes, maybe, I don't know if I would say unfortunately, or by virtue of us not understanding even how our body systems work, the physiology of our own human system, how it also enables these things to happen and to be. So, I am of African descent, and growing up, again, I didn't grow up in an environment where I saw wealthy people or very affluent people. Yeah, I knew a few people that were well off. They had, a well-to-do family and things of that nature, and they were the talk of the town or the envy of the town. But to say I witnessed someone who was wealthy or ultra rich, I don't think I ever did, and I don't know how many people have. So your environment has a lot to do with the things you have grown to believe and to accept as the norm, as the way of things, right? Do you really believe that it's easier to make a lot of money in a shorter period of time than in a longer period of time? That is something that I struggled with. There's no way I could feel like, man, I could make $10,000 in a week, because nobody around me made that kind of money. There's no way I could believe that I could make $30, $40, $50, $100,000 a month when no one around me makes that kind of money, let alone have I even come close to anyone, remotely close to anyone that makes that kind of money until recently. And as a result of that exposure that I've had, now I also now believe that, man, it is possible. It is possible. And so all I'm here to share with you today is that whatever your mindset has been about money or about making money, man, it may be the very reason why you're not able to make the kind of money that you would like to make. And that is the part that, again, I said I want to talk about, because there's something in psychology that they call Psycho-Cybernetics. I know it's a very scientific word, which it just screws up my mind even when I talk about it. Psycho-Cybernetics. But let me break it down to you in a very simple form. I want you to think of a thermostat. A thermostat is not a thermometer, right? A thermometer is something that reads temperature and it adjusts according to the temperature of its environment. But on the other hand, a thermostat, it's something that regulates temperature, which means it's, if you set it at a certain temperature, it will work to maintain that temperature that it was set at. So yes, what's happening now? You and I, if we have grown in an environment where all we have seen is lack and scarcity, man, that's most of what I saw. I can never, there is never a day. I remember when I was going to school, And during the holidays, and now we have the beginning of a new year, you're looking forward to having some new things, your new textbooks, maybe your new uniforms and maybe a new pair of shoes so you can start the new school year fresh, looking sharp. And I'll make my list and I'll take it and give it to my dad. My dad will look at it and he will start crossing out some things. Oh, you don't need this. What is this for? You don't need that. And he keeps crossing out stuff. And then even after he crossed out all those stuff, maybe the total cost or expenses will come up to be like 20,000. Hey, guess what he'll do? He'll give me 15,000 francs CFA, by the way, 15,000 francs CFA. Okay. Which is probably what, about maybe $20 or $30 now. Right. But that's what he'll give me. And I'll be like, man, Dad, I need these things. He always used to say this to me. He said, even I don't have enough money, but I have learned to use my money. And he used this particular adjective, which it used to bother me why he would use that word. He said, you need to learn how to use your money deliciously. And trust me, at that level, all I knew that the word delicious meant, I could only associate that word to food. So I'm like, why is my dad telling me that I should use my money deliciously? What has this got to do with my list and how much he's giving me, which is not enough for what I need? Man, but years have gone by and I'm realizing how profound that word meant and what he was trying to communicate to me, right? Man. So, but guess what though? The interesting thing is that most of us, we've just grown through life. We've just gone through life. We've left maybe wherever you came from. You're now in this United States or somewhere else in the Western world, right? And you beginning to realize that life is totally different. Number one, we don't get to see each other as friends, as siblings, as relatives like we used to see growing up. So that already creates another form of change for you, which you're not used to. Culture shock, we could say. Man, right? But all of that now is happening. You're always struggling. You don't have enough money to take care of the things that your basic needs, you don't have enough to take care of. If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of society, or what they call hierarchy of life, the first pillar is what? Being able to have your basic needs. So a lot of us did not even have enough to meet our basic needs, right? What did that translate to on a physiological level? Adrenaline. Now, here's where adrenaline comes in. Adrenaline is that hormone in you that is released for fight or fright. For flight or fright, right? So here's what's happening now. So it's your survival mechanism, okay? And your survival instincts. And anytime something is not enough, you go into survival mode. Anytime something is scarce, that survival mode and instincts kicks in, because now you don't have enough of what you need to survive. So whatever you have to figure out how to maybe manage it, or how to use it, or how to hold on to it so it can last for as long as possible. Because your awareness of the scarcity and the lack has been heightened because of the environment you now find yourself in. So adrenaline is released in your system to help compensate, to help you in that mode survival that you are in. So you're always fighting. Could it be, I'm just curious, could it be that's why even today in most African countries, we keep hearing of things that were unheard of in the past? Because people are going into things, selling even their own siblings, selling out their own family members just so they can get money. It is that survival instinct that has kicked in. And here's the thing. If we study biology tells us that adrenaline is only there, and it's only supposed to be there for a period of time to help you for that flight or fright, something that comes to you suddenly, right? But because you have been in that environment for so long, that means adrenaline is constantly pumping in your system more than it should. And what it does now is it begins to create different connections and reconditions your system to almost begin to function constantly in survival mode. And here's the other thing about survival mode. There is safety in numbers. So whenever something seems to be out of the ordinary, whenever something looks like nobody else is doing it, you become very apprehensive to do the same or to go do that thing because everybody around you is not doing it. Because survival tells you and dictates that we cannot do something that all of us are not doing. In order for us to stay alive, we have to do something that is normal to this group. So we stay within a certain way of doing things because everybody around us is doing it that same way. And so survival dictates that we do that. So if somebody were to show up and introduce something that is you've never heard of and you've never seen anybody do, it becomes extremely difficult for you and I to step out and try it out. And so only those who have stepped out and actually tested something that was out of the norm, most of the time, if you look in society, those are the people who have broken free. Those are the people who have achieved some amazing things in life. I'll share with you a story. This story is in the Bible. There was a time the Bible records that there was so much famine in Israel that a cup of wheat was so expensive, probably I'll say the equivalent of maybe $10, $50 today. That's how much just a cup of wheat was at that time. So food was so scarce that people started killing even their children or siblings to eat because they did not have food. That was how bad it was. And then the Bible records and says, well, one day this prophet showed up in a place where in the market, let me just put it that way, in the market area, and he announced and he said, about this time tomorrow, food, that same cup of wheat shall be sold for $1, let's just say. So the price he said wheat will be sold for was so cheap that even the king said, even if this were true, it will not be for that price. Food was so scarce that even the king did not believe what the prophet said. And then here's what the prophet said again. He said, my king, I hear you. You will see it, but you will not enjoy it. You're talking in 24 hours when there was no sign of anything like that being possible. And yet a prophet came and made such an announcement. Okay, fast forward. Now, a lot of people heard that story. A lot of people. And the Bible records that there were 4 people who were lepers. They had leprosy. And in those days, if you had leprosy, because leprosy was considered a very contagious disease, they could not live in the community. So they were in a different place where they could live. But these 4 lepers heard this story. They heard that announcement. They heard the prophet say that also. So those Bibles record that they were sitting on the city wall. And they looked at each other and they said this, brother, hunger will kill us here if we stay here. They said, but we heard what the prophet said. Said, but what if there could be food in that neighboring city? And they courageously said, you know what are we going to lose? If we stay here, we will die. If we go to that neighboring city, at least we might have an opportunity to eat. But if we don't, then the end game or the end point will still be the same as it will be if we stay here, which is death. So they decided to leave and go to that neighboring city. So they saddled their horses and they took off. At night, interestingly, that's when they left. They said, at least let's try to come in at night. So that way we don't, right? So they left at night. And the Bible tells us that the people in that neighboring city, all of a sudden, at some hour of the night, they heard the sound of chariots as the sound of thousands upon thousands of chariots coming towards the city. And everybody in that small village ran away. They left their town. Everything, they ran away and left everything. These 4 lepers arrived at that small village and they could not believe what they saw. Food was left on the stove. There was food everywhere. But there was nobody. They could not believe there was nobody. With the hunger they had, they sat down first. They ate so much food. And then they remember, they say, hey, we cannot eat all of this alone. Let's go back from where we came from and go tell our brothers and sisters that there is food. So they carried food and they went back and went and announced it. They arrived there in the morning. By the time that the prophet had announced about that the day prior, a cup of wheat was being sold at about the price the prophet had said. What's my point for sharing this story? My point is this, is that already, including you and I today, there are things we are hearing from people. There are things you may have already heard in the past, but you've never taken action. And the only reason you've not taken action is simply because your survival instinct is going against it. Because everybody and everything around you is telling you that we don't do this, not this way, because you have never done it and you have not witnessed anyone, never have you seen anybody doing it that way. So you are uncomfortable stepping out. But if you can muster some courage, like one of those lepers, and go and jump, like Steve Harvey will say, just jump. Or like the Nike logo will say, just do it. If you can muster some courage and just do that one thing that you've been thinking about, that has been pestering your mind, your financial success or breakthrough might just be on the other side. But our survival instincts, which rightfully so we need it, could be why you are not making that move today. And so again, let me come back now to what I talked about, Psycho-Cybernetics. And I said the thermostat, and I explained what the thermostat is. What is happening now? Because of that adrenaline and all of that, that conditioning has happened. And what it has done is that trained your mind to accept this outcome as the way of life. So now, whenever new information comes in that challenges this current mindset, yes, you would feel like you would even make some steps to go do it. You will make some progress. But Psycho-Cybernetics dictates now your mindset, what your temperature has been set at, your mindset, your mind has been set to this way of living. It's going to pull you back to come back to start living the way your mind was set to function, to live life, to believe that this is what life looks like and this is what life should be. That is what mindset is. Because now when it is set and a new information comes in that is challenging this one, this mindset will not accept the new information. The only way it's going to change is that this new information, you need to keep bombarding and bombarding into your mind for a long time also. So now it could reset to a new set, or it could reset to a new temperature, just like a thermostat. I set my temperature at home to 77 degrees. What happens? If the environment in the house, the temperature begins to rise above 77 degrees, my AC system will kick on. And when it kicks on, it will blow cold air until the temperature sensor in that thermostat reads that, oh, we are now back to 77 degrees, and then it will go off. because it's bringing it back to where I had set it. If the temperature is below 77 degrees, it will stay there. You say, okay, you're below it. Okay, I don't really need to come on. We are below where we set. I don't need to come on. In some cases, it may push it back to bring it up. Maybe it's too cold. So you could push it back now, heat, to bring it back to 77 degrees because that's where you want it, right? That's what a thermostat does. A thermostat, how that thermostat works is how our mindset works or how our mind works. Whenever something has been programmed and we have come to accept it as a way of life and we believe it, it is extremely difficult to change it without external force. And this is where Newton's first law or second law of motion comes in. That what? A body at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an external force. Or a body in motion will stay in motion unless acted by an external force. In order for you to change that mindset, something external has to come against it. And that is new information. That is an opportunity or a challenge or a problem. What you call a problem, or what you and I often call a problem, is usually a challenge. It's usually an opportunity in disguise. And if we don't accept it like one of those lepers and look at our situation and say, man, if I stay here, I'll die. But if I go there, I might discover something. But if I don't, I might still die. But why choose to die here if the outcome could still be death? A lot of us, we are holding back from making that move because our survival instincts is holding us back. Man, I really wanted this video to be short, but because of how deep this thing is, I want to go a little bit further. Please allow me to do so. So, my apologies. So, here is how deep and strong this thing is. Now you have left that scarcity environment. You have now stepped into an environment where almost everything around you see seems to be so much in abundance. You want to buy food. Food is in abundance. The meat you did not eat enough when you were growing up, now you have it in abundance. The sodas and all of those things that you could not even afford a bottle of Coke or Coca-Cola. Now you can drink it like from a fountain. In fact, let me share with you my little story. When I came to this United States of America in 1999, oh my God, the first 3-4 months of me living in this country, I did not drink water. Yes, I did not drink water. Why? I went to the school cafeteria. I lived on campus and I ate at the school cafeteria. I was shocked to my wildest dream. They had an array of disposing or dispensers of sodas from Top Anana to Fanta to Coca-Cola to Sprite to Pepsi to root beer, you name it. Hey, Lord Jesus. Every day, it was one of them. If I had not tasted one before, that was the one that I drank or tasted that day. I drank milk, chocolate milk. Oh my, I love chocolate milk. For 4 months, that's all I drank. And then every day I used to feel so thirsty. And then one day I went to the soccer field. Even when I went to play soccer, I'll take Gatorade. Not water, Gatorade. And then I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said, I don't know why I feel so thirsty. I'm drinking stuff, but I'm still thirsty. And he asked me a question. When you feel thirsty, what are you drinking? Water or juice or soda? I said, I'm drinking soda now. I mean, isn't that? He said, no. He said, that's why you're still thirsty. He said, and you better stop drinking those sodas. Otherwise, you quickly develop health issues. I said, why? He said, because of too much sugar. Hey, I could not believe this. When I started drinking water, it was extremely difficult. But I want you to see what happened. Because I stepped into an environment where there was scarcity of something that I had lived in before. When I jumped in there, what did I do? I overindulged. I overindulged. And that is what is happening for some of us. You're now in an environment you're making money. And the things that you could not afford, oh my God, you are overindulging now. You could not afford some good pair of shoes. Now every month you want to buy a new pair of shoes. Those nice clothes and outfits that you could not afford. Now every occasion that you have, you want to buy a new set of outfit. Overindulging now. You want to wear the latest outfit. Everything you want, right? And then here's where the scarcity mindset is coming in again. Because you did not see it and you could not afford it, and because of that survival instinct, now that you see and you're in an environment where there is abundance, you feel pressure to get it quickly because you think it's going to run out. Because that scarcity mindset, which you grew up in, that has conditioned your way of thinking, tells you that when something is not enough, you want to either hold on to what you have or get your own before it runs out. So you continue to do the same thing now, even though there is abundance. But just in case that thing runs out, you want to grab yours first. So your scarcity mindset is also still driving your life and dictating how you go about doing so many things simply because you think it could run out. That is how this thing is bad and deep. And because of that, we are now doing I'll call it the opposite of what we should be doing, or the wrong things. Because the scarcity mindset is driving us to buy things that we really can delay our gratification, right? But we don't do that. And then the things that we should do with our money, which is new to us, the new information about how you can effectively use your money, you are also now scared to do so. Why? Because your survivor instinct is telling you that nobody around me is doing this. So I do not feel comfortable doing it. So you hold on to your money from doing the things that deep down that is what you really want to achieve. Those are the things you really like. But because it's so new, it's making you shiver like somebody who is getting out of who is being weaned out of drugs. It's making you so afraid to step out because no one around you has ever told you of this information or shared anything about it. That is how bad our survivor and scarcity mindset and instincts is affecting us. And if you are an immigrant, check your money behaviors. You'll see those two things. It is so easy for you to pay to go to a party, for you to go buy an outfit, to go attend an event, to look nice, to spend that money to buy that nice car. It is so easy for you and I, for us to do that part. So easy. Why? Because we lack those things. We did not have enough of them. We did not enjoy, most of us did not enjoy those things growing up. So it is so easy for us to go after those things. And also, it is extremely difficult for us to invest our money in things that we don't know anything about, but we are unwilling to learn them. It is so difficult for us to listen to a brother, a sister who tells you that I know there are financial strategies like this, like that can help you, like life insurance that you can invest money in, or you can put to secure and protect your family, but it can do more than that for you because it's a financial instrument. But you hesitate because nobody around you, first of all, even believe in life insurance. Nobody around you has one. Nobody around you grew up talking about it. Why now? That, my brother, my sister, is one of the big reasons why we struggle the most, even though we are living in a country with the most abundance, because of the scarcity mindset and the survivor instincts that have conditioned our mind for so many years. I hope what I shared today will resonate with some of you. And if it has, put something in the comment section. If you want me to go deeper into this, I will and I can. Because this is a conversation that needs to be had in our communities today. I urge you, look and examine your own way of thinking and your own behaviors when it comes to money. It has nothing to do with me and what I believe. It has everything for you to truly examine your own beliefs and ask yourself, how has it been helping you? If you truly can answer that question for yourself, then you are halfway on your journey to financial independence. I'll never close my deliberation without saying this, that with all of your getting, please get understanding. Have a great day.